Welcome back into the Crease. We had a little hiatus, but don't worry, we're here to break down the entire trade deadline, the top 4 teams in each conference, playoff predictions, and rookies, all here next on the Crease. Welcome back into the Crease. And before we get into all that great hockey news, action, and updates, I want to give a big shout out to one of our affiliates, and that is Lids. Obviously, if you're a hat guy like me, there's a lot of places you can go get your hats, but Lids is the one-stop shop for all of your personal fandom needs, regardless of sport, regardless of team. You can use the link in the description of this video to go to Lids and get all of your fandom merchandise at lids.com. They're affiliate here of the house call. And so the Crease, be sure to check them out. The link will be in the description of this video, and go get yourself some of that sick team swagger that you want to see when you watch your games. So we got a lot to talk about. Trade deadline was crazy. Teams are all over the place. Vancouver, who we thought was going to run away with the President's Trophy, is now in a 3-way race. 2 teams in the East, them in the West. Few teams are knocking on the door. But let's go ahead and break down this trade deadline first, man, before we get into the rest of this. It was absolutely wild. You were recording shorts left and right, trying to get those out there for the trade deadline, breaking down those moves. I'm going to let you take it away here, Ian. What was, in your mind, the biggest move for a playoff team or a playoff hopeful team this trade deadline?
To be honest with you, Joe, this one was kind of a shocker. Vegas getting Tomas Hertl. Vegas getting Hertl was such a shock. I didn't expect Hertl to go anywhere. I thought the Shark on the move would be Logan Couture. But the Sharks really needed to get rid of that contract. Vegas needed another impact player because it seems like their rosters just hurt every year until the playoffs. They went out, they got Noah Hannafin. Anthony Mantha was an underrated pickup by them. And you go get a guy who could be your number 2 or number 3 center. Look at Vegas center depth right now. Vegas 1, 2, 3, 4 centers are Jack Eichel, Thomas Hertl, William Karlsson, Nick Waugh. You can't tell me there's better center depth in the league. This is by far and away the best center depth. Vegas made an absolutely ridiculous trade. Got Hertl retained too, so that's not a bad. It's not a huge cap hit. If they make the playoffs, they're deadly. There's a chance they miss the playoffs, but they're deadly if they make it and everybody comes back. They look dangerous. But on the other side of it, in the other conference though, in the East, I like what Florida did. Getting Tarasenko to shore up some top 6 forward depth. We thought he'd be on the 3rd line. Nope. First line with Reinhart and Barkov. They look phenomenal. Especially against, I believe it was Calgary. They looked fantastic. And like I said in the short, if Florida's not the favorite for the Stanley Cup right now, then I don't know what the odds makers are saying that I'm not. I also liked Gensel and Kuznetsov to Carolina on bargain deals. I believe Kuznetsov got his half retained. Gensel, excellent playoff performer, and they need goal scoring in the playoffs. It's great for them. But overall, I think I couldn't be more disappointed in Calgary because honestly, no, as a hockey fan, like, you had all the power in the world to turn it into a seller's market. Your first move was Chris Tanev, and we all knew it would be Chris Tanev. As a Stars fan, I'm happy that we only gave up a second, a conditional third, and Grushnikov. Grushnikov was never going to play here. He was at best going to be a 6th or 7th defenseman. And I think as a Stars fan, we win that trade. Flames got to be disappointed not getting a first-round pick for their best defensive defenseman. I get you got a first for Hannafin, but come on now. You have to have... You could have moved him anywhere for whatever price. You could have asked for more, and they just didn't. I think they could have done more there. The Chris Tanev trade flipped the market, in my opinion, from a seller's market to a buyer's market. And that's why I think the returns we saw were so underwhelming this year in selling teams that sold off at the deadline, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's almost like Calgary curbed the market just because they could. You know, it was almost like that's what they wanted to do. The Golden Knights are on cheat mode, in all honesty, with what they've done. It is unfair. It ain't cheating, but it's cheat mode. You know, it's like when you watch your team get smoked by a team that they shouldn't have got beat by, and you go on, you know, to Madden or NHL or Chell, and you just go out there and fucking dominate like 400-2 or some shit like that.
They turn the salary cap off.
That's what I feel like it is with the Golden Knights right now with the roster they got. I mean, they've had a rough stretch, right? They get injured. It seems like every time someone gets off injured, like IR, another guy goes on. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. You know, they won one game, their last game, so they're still doing well. But I mean, they're going to have to climb out of the cellar here to make sure they stay in the playoffs right now. I think right now they're on the outside looking in. Them and the Kings are tied at 75 points. They got they're a game. They played one more game than the Kings, so they're kind of in a bad situation. But I think the Knights squeak in. I think the worst part, the scariest part for Vancouver and Dallas is a first round matchup with the Kings, or not the Kings, the Knights. My apologies.
Yeah,
and that's what it's looking like it's going to be right now. It looks like one of those two teams is going to get a first round matchup with the Golden Knights.
Not if the Kings fall off, because I mean the Kings and Knights are tied in points. I'm really hoping the Kings mess this up.
The Preds are 3 up on them.
The Preds are red hot right now. I don't want to play them come into the playoffs. They're kind of like those
8-0-2 right now.
They're kind of like those Barry Trotz teams. Not the most talented in the world, but they're going to be a pain in the butt to get out of the playoffs.
Yeah, and you know, we've been talking about the Panthers on our last couple of shows here, and they're doing exactly what they did last year. You know, kind of hanging around in the first part of the season and then just turning it on at the end of the year.
Good Lord.
They're currently an NHL best 92 points. They're a point up on both Boston and Vancouver, who we thought would never be caught. And now Vancouver is sitting there and they're at 91. Dallas is at 89. Vancouver is 5-4-1 in their last, 10, and they rattled off a 4-game win streak. So, I mean, that tells you everything that you need to know about how Vancouver's really been looking their last 10 games.
They haven't been good. Lindholm's been horrible for them.
It's been bad. So it's really interesting. I think the trade deadline really shook things up. I think that, good teams got better.
Colorado looks dangerous.
Yeah, good teams got better. Bad teams got rid of salary cap weight and got some draft capital.
Except Ottawa.
That's because no one. It's Ottawa at this point. I mean, that place is going to.
Jacob Chychrun. You can trade Chychrun. You can trade a guy like Ridley Grigg or Matthew Joseph. Like, what are you doing, Ottawa?
I think they viewed Chychrun as kind of like a building block. I thought Chychrun should be moved. I think Chychrun should have been moved. I was a pro bono for Chychrun being moved, going somewhere, anywhere. But I feel bad for Chychrun while we're on the Chychrun train right now. That man has gone from bad franchise to bad franchise. I feel like bad luck follows that man every locker room he goes to. He just happens to be in Ottawa, which is now, it's Ottawa. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our top 4 teams post-trade deadline, East and West. So 8 total teams. That's going to be half of our playoff field. I'm guaranteeing it. Post-trade deadline, I'm going to let you start, Ian. Give me 2 East and 2 West teams.
The first one's obvious, the Panthers. I can't say enough good things about the Florida Panthers. They're on fire right now, and their style of play translates extremely well to the playoffs. We saw that last year. I said they were going to be a tough out last year. I didn't have them going to the final, but I had them going further than everybody else. But they're better this year. This year, what it is, last year they had all the high-end talent. They had all the high-end talent to carry them to the cup, to the final at least. This year, that high-end talent is performing just as well, if not better. Looking at you, Sam Reinhart. What a season this man's having. And they've got depth. They've got depth in spades now. Like, On the back end, Oliver Ekman-Larsson's been great for him. Brandon Montours is advertised again. Gustav Forsling looks like one of the best waiver pickups. I know they've had him since the 21 season, but he looks like one of the best waiver pickups of all time. Right now, just got an 8-year deal. They've got guys that can carry. What happened is they had guys that could carry this team. The depth kind of carried the team until the stars got fully healthy. And now Tkachuk is fully healthy. Aaron Ekblad will be healthy in a couple weeks. Bob is playing out of his mind, and Stolarz looks like the best backup goalie in the league, so I don't really know who can stop them. My number 2 team in the East, Boston doesn't scare me as much as I think they should.
I mean, as a Bruins fan, I'm not sure about them. I feel like there's a lot. I feel like, Pasta and Marchand and Swayman are kind of carrying that load right now. There's a lot of youth there. They got some good defensemen, but you're just kind of like, you look at the roster, and you're just like, where does that piece? And I know that I'm saying that, but like Pasta's there, and you think like Pasternak, that's the guy, right? That's the guy that's got to be Marchand.
And that's fine. They have talented wings. They don't have center depth.
It reminds me a little bit of always looking at the Toronto Maple Leafs. They got guys. Toronto has guys, but they just never. You just look at them. You're like, where's that other that third piece or that like one spot that really just like worries you? And I
think they'll beat Toronto in the playoffs.
I mean, I think they will too. But it's a similar conundrum. It really is.
The thing is, though, if it comes down to it, Toronto's got some center depth. They've got, if it comes down to centers, I'm not betting against Matthews. Who are you taking, Matthews or Charlie Coyle?
Oh, Matthews.
Like, Boston's center depth is
twice on Sunday.
A glaring weakness. And the other thing that concerned me, I saw them win in the shootout against Dallas. That Dallas team was starting Alex Petrovich and Derek Pouliot on their back end. We were so injured, and we were kicking Boston up and down the ice. Now Dallas is fully healthy, but this isn't about them. I'll get to them later. I watched the Kings beat them at home. They just don't scare me like previous Boston teams have. I think for my contender in the East, my second team in the East, I like Carolina. They've got the depth. They're kind of coasting a little bit this year. They're a really, really solid team. They're coasting a little bit this year. I think in the playoffs, this is the year they hit that next gear, start stepping it up. They've got good center depth with guys like Aho, Necas, and now Kuznetsov. If Kuznetsov actually pans out for him, but even if he doesn't, they've got Jake Gensel. That's your playoff goal scorer that you need. Aho can't be the only guy putting goals in the net. I think they've got all the pieces they need. If they lack one thing, it's a true superstar. But this is a team that's so deep that they may not need one. And they've got Freddie back. They've got Freddie Anderson back. So I like them. I'm not going to sleep on Philadelphia at all. I like the way Philly plays. I don't like betting against Torts in the playoffs.
I mean, Philly's biggest concern right now is just they're not scoring goals. I mean, they've only scored 192 on the season. They've given up 194, which isn't bad, but they're not scoring at the clip I think you need to be as a playoff team in the East.
But that's John Tortorella hockey.
I mean, true. I mean, I'm not saying like, they need to be you need to be killers on the offensive side, but you need to score goals. And
sure.
I just don't think they have the goalie strength. I mean, they're not bad. Like I say, it's not a bad goal. I mean, they're doing okay. But when you face a team like the Leafs or like the offensive power that Pasternak and the Bruins can put out, or the Panthers, or some of these teams, I just don't think the Flyers have.
They don't have the firepower.
Yeah, they don't have the firepower to get into a shootout. And and we've seen playoff hockey recently. A lot of these games are not like 1-2 goals. They're like 3-5, 6-2. Like, it gets crazy quick. And if they get into a shootout like that, I just don't have faith in the Flyers. But
No, they can't. They can't.
I'm in agreement with you on the Panthers. Carolina has kind of been that they've been quiet. They remind me a little bit of, like we were talking about how quiet some of the other teams have been, like quietly good. And that's what Carolina's been. I mean, we've kind of questioned them, like, oh, why are they kind of in the middling thing? I think they kind of pulled the Panthers early in the year, where they were just like, we're gonna figure some stuff out. Yeah, we're gonna figure some stuff out. We're gonna see what works. We're gonna play around with some stuff, but come, about a month till playoff time, which is about where we're at. We're what, 30, 40, 43-ish days, 42-ish days away from playoff hockey. Like, it's not that far away, and you're starting to see the teams that are turning it on, right? Like the Islanders are on a 6-game win streak right now. They're in the playoff chase for a wild card spot. You got, the Maple Leafs are 7-3 in their last 10. The Panthers are 8-2 in their last 10. You're starting to see the season sort of playoff teams sort of come alive here. The Avalanche are 7-2-1. Predators are 8-0-2. The Dallas Stars are 6-3-1. Right. And so you're seeing some of these teams that are like a little more playoff known, a little bit there. The Edmonton Oilers are 6-3-1. You're starting to see some of these teams climb a little bit. And it's towards that point where you need to start getting in that flow of playing like tough hockey, playoff hockey, and the cream's rising to the top, right? I love that thing from Macho Man. The cream rises to the top kind of stuff. That's what I'm talking about right now. So I'm with you on that. As a Bruins fan, I always want to see my Bruins do well, but you're right. They're not what their record or their points reflect. They're just not. The Bruins are not that good. So I'm going to go with you on the Panthers. It's hard for me to kind of look at, how good the Rangers have consistently been. I feel like they have been that team that's just been consistently good. I'm going to go with the Rangers over the Hurricanes right now, but it's closer than I thought it would be this time of year.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. I don't hate what the Rangers are doing at all. I think the Rangers they look like a cup contender most nights. They're super solid defensively. They've got really good goaltending from Jonathan Quick. Imagine saying that before the year. Jonathan Quick is out-dueling Igor Shesterkin.
Right.
And even then, like Shesterkin's back up to a 9-12.
Can we just acknowledge the fact that this is the weirdest Vezina Trophy race we've seen in a while?
Oh my gosh, dude! It's weird. But let me look at the goaltending stats real quick before, your save percentage leader is Anthony Stolarz.
Right? What is going on with goalies this year?
In my opinion, though, I think the three finalists for the Vezina are going to be Swayman, Hellebuck, and Bobrovsky. Just because Stolarz isn't a starter. I think Hellebuck is going to get his second. I wouldn't hate it if Swayman won his first. I like Jeremy Swayman.
I just don't think he's up there far enough. He's got the highest save percentage, but it's
save percentage for a starter. Yeah.
What's crazy is that Linus Ullmark, the reigning Vezina Trophy winner, he's finally climbed back into the top 10 at 9.
Good. It's about time.
But it's been a bad year.
It's been such a bad year for goaltending in general. Look at Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger was an all-star. And he, I think, has a sub-900 save percentage. He might not anymore. He's at a 900 save percentage right now, and he was an all-star this year. Granted, I could make a case for a couple guys that should have gone instead of him, but it just hasn't been that good. But back to playoff picks, you like the Panthers and the Rangers in the East. I think we're in agreement on the Panthers. The Panthers are scary. The Panthers are just built different.
Terrifying.
Actually just built different. I don't want to play that. I heard the Steve Dangle podcast a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about he'd rather play the Bruins because he thinks Florida might sweep them. And I don't disagree.
And the crazy thing is, the only thing I could see sinking the Panthers is the President's Trophy curse. That's the only thing, right? In that case, they should probably be the Vancouver's fans. I hope we don't win the President's Trophy. I don't want to win the President's Trophy. God. It would be funny if the Bruins won it twice in a row and got knocked out in the first round 2 years in a row. It would be hilarious
So-
for me. But
My two teams in the West, I'm a bit biased, and I'm going to be biased again. I like my Dallas Stars. I like
How
what
can you
Dallas
not?
has cooking. Dude, Dallas is stacked. If we could, now we do take off nights. That game against San Jose was unacceptable. That 7-6 win against San Jose was unacceptable. We had to come back 6-3 down and had to rely on two guys in their 20s, early 20s, I might add, to do that. We had to rely on Wyatt Johnston and rookie Logan Stankoven, who I will be talking about later. Just hang on. But you look at the roster on paper, and you look, Pete DeBoer gets deep runs out of his teams. He's done it in Vegas. He's done it in San Jose. He did it in New Jersey. Forward group might be the best in the league. Forward group-wise, maybe not center depth-wise. Group-wise, I don't think there's a better group of forwards in the league. Defense, Heiskanen is fantastic. Thomas Harley is... The offense has slowed down a bit recently for him, but he looks phenomenal. Chris Tanev looks perfect. Looks like a perfect fit so far in Dallas. So there's your top three. I like Esa Lindell's game paired with Chris Tanev. They look like a fantastic shutdown pairing. Lindell's refound his game. Underrated defenseman for the Stars, Niels Lundqvist. Niels Lundqvist looks like an everyday 5, could be a 4 or 3 defenseman on a couple other teams. And he's kind of made Ryan Suter play a little bit better as of late. I've liked him a lot. Now, my concern with Dallas when it comes to them is goaltending. I don't like Jake Ottinger this year. He reminds me of Kari Lettinen. He reminds me a lot of Kari Lettinen or Antoni Niemi. I like Wedgwood a little bit better this year. But if Ottinger can hit that next gear, which I know he has in him, well, we'll see. We'll see. If we don't get goaltending, we're in trouble. But if we get the goaltending, we should at least go to the conference finals this year. My second team, Colorado. I like the Colorado Avalanche a lot. Did you not see, they have one of the best defenses in the league? Devon Toews,
Yes.
Cale Makar. Reverse that order, Cale Makar, Devon Toews. They got rid of Bo Byram, but they got an excellent number 2 center in Casey Middlestat. They got themselves
they
a
also
player
have
with
these.
Middlestat.
They also are tied for the lead in goals against at 153.
Exactly. And with
The only
Georgiev in net.
team, yeah, and they're tied with. Actually, I take that back. You're talking about Avalanche. I missed it. That was the Winnipeg Jets. I apologize. They're at 197.
I like Winnipeg too, but I mean, that's so tough if we get the 1, 2, 3 in the Central Division might be the best teams in the West as a collective. Just because I'm not sold on how Vancouver's playing right now, and Edmonton doesn't scare me this year. I can't lie. Edmonton doesn't scare me. I don't think they did enough. I really don't think they did enough. You get Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick and call it good.
We're going to disagree on Edmonton.
I think they should have tried.
Edmonton.
I think they should have tried to get Jake Gensel.
I mean,
if they get Jake Gensel, they scare me more. If they get a guy like Bo Byram, they scare me a little bit more. But they didn't, and their structure's good. Skinner's playing better. I haven't seen it out of Skinner in the playoffs. But enough about Edmonton for now. Colorado has one of the best defenses in the league with Georgiev in net. I don't like Georgiev, but he's playing passable. I watched Georgiev play in person. I didn't like it. I didn't like him at all. But you have Nathan MacKinnon. Nathan McKinnon's a gamer in the playoffs. I'm not going to bet against Nathan MacKinnon. Plus, you have Landeskog coming back. Landeskog might be back in time for the playoffs, and if he is, I like them a little bit better. Val Nichushkin's back. I don't know, man. That's going to be the Central Division. The best teams in the Central Division is intriguing to me. Because
they really are.
It's so top-heavy with your 3 best teams. You can throw Nashville in there now. They're playing much better. Saros picked it up, and they look like, ever since they lost 9-2 to Dallas, they've looked much better. But yeah, I think those are The Central in the playoff is going to be a bloodbath. I can't wait for it. Who do you got?
I mean, yeah, just to be fair with the Predators right now, their last 10 games have been 18 points. They've got 18 points in their last 10 games. They won 8 and they had 2 overtimes. 2 overtime losses. That is 18 points in their last 10 games. That is a almost 2 points per game clip. That is insane. All right, and they have absolutely started to catch and separate themselves. And for a minute there, we thought the Wild were going to do something like that, but it's hard to go against the Avalanche. I like the Avalanche pick because they have the best home record in all of the NHL. They're 26-6-0. They are the best at home. But you know why I like Dallas better than the Avalanche?
Depth.
Because Dallas is not just good at home with a 19-8-4. They're also really good on the road at a 21-9-5. Dallas.
See what we did in California?
Exactly. So here's the thing, though. That is an insane clip for Dallas. My second team, who I'm I think I made a statement. I made a bold prediction a few episodes ago where I said that Edmonton would catch Vancouver. They have played 3 less games than Vancouver. They are 10 points back.
And that's 9 points.
And they could easily be 1 point off in 3 games. Or in 4 games. Like easy peasy.
Very easy.
So I am going to stick by it. Vancouver is my second team in the West. Edmonton is my second team in the West. Vancouver is going to lose the Pacific Division in the final 2 weeks of the NHL regular season.
Wouldn't shock me. I don't like the way Vancouver's playing right now.
To the Oilers. The Oilers are going to win the Pacific Division. They're going to have the second highest points total in the West. And those are my 2 top teams in the West right now. But we're going to go ahead and transition here. We gave you 2 top teams. We were going to give you 4. We gave you 2. But you want to know why we didn't give you 4? Because we're about to give you the rest of them right now. We're going to give you our predictions for the playoffs. We're going to bracket it out right now.
As they sit right now.
We can either go as we sit right now. We already gave our division winners before, but if we want to go as it sits right now, we can go as it sits right now and see how that works out. I'm okay with that. Let's go ahead and see how it sits right now with the bracket. We're going to start in the East. All right.
So your teams, the Atlantic Division, your number 1 seed in the Atlantic, obviously the Florida Panthers. Number 2 seed, Boston Bruins. Third in the Atlantic are the Toronto Maple Leafs, who won't catch either of these teams because they're just too far behind. In the Metro, you have the New York Rangers at number 1. At number 2, you have the Carolina Hurricanes. And at number 3, right now, as it stands, you have the Philadelphia Flyers. Your wild card teams, your first wild card is Tampa. Second wild card is the New York Islanders. So as the playoff matchups would stand now, Florida would get the Islanders. Boston would play Toronto. New York would get Tampa. And Carolina would play Philly. Joe, let's start with you on your playoff predictions in all of those series, starting with Florida and New York Islanders.
I like the Islanders. I think they're playing good hockey right now. I'm going to give them a game. 4-1, ends in 5, Panthers move on. That's what I see. I think the Islanders get 1 from them. They're going to win 1 at home. And that's it. I do not see Florida having trouble with them. I don't think the Islanders can score with them. And I just don't think their goalie and their defense is good enough to hang with the Panthers on the ice. I think that the Panthers are going to pretty much just dominate them. The Islanders are going to give it the tryers try. It would not surprise me if the Islanders got swept out of the first round by the Panthers. But I'm going to be kind. I'm going to give them 1 game in a desperation 1-game win at home.
Gentlemen sweep them. I respect that take. Me personally, I'll give the Isles 2. The reason for that is because the Islanders, while they can't really score, they have some goal scoring. They're physical. They're physical and they're gritty.
Which has shown that the Panthers, like when we thought that the Panthers would give the Golden Knights a run for the money, and they got pushed off the ice.
The Golden Knights ran them off the ice. I think the Golden Knights might have swept everyone in the East last year. But I'll give them 2. I think Game 1 will go to Florida, Game 2 will go to Florida, and I think the Islanders take 2 at home, back-to-back in 3 and 4. The Panthers are going to come home. They're going to say, we're not going to let this happen again. And they're going to kick them. They're going to kick them in the teeth in Game 5, and they're just going to kind of suffocate them in Game 6. I think Bob's going to come through and shut the door on them for a team that's hard at goal scoring anyway. That's kind of how the Carolina series last year played out. I mean, Carolina won 2 at home, back-to-back. The Islanders went home, got some energy out of Games 3 and 4, and Carolina shut the door. I think the same thing's going to happen this year. I could see it being 5, but I just think the Islanders' physicality is going to come into play and kind of wear the Panthers down a little bit.
I mean, it would be interesting to see that, but I do have one thing. The Islanders, out of all playoff teams currently, are the 5th lowest goal scorers out of all the playoff teams. They have the 5th lowest goals. They also are giving up over 200 goals per game. They're 206, which out of
200 goals per game
are over the year. Dude. I apologize. That'd be an insane stat, wouldn't it?
I'm messing with you. I'm like, 200 goals per game. How are they in the playoffs?
In fact, there are only, let's see here, one team in the playoffs right now who are allowing more goals, or have allowed more goals than the Islanders.
Tampa.
That is it. So they are for as much as physical as they are, they don't score a lot, and their goalie's not good enough. So I mean, that's why I said maybe they win one in a desperation sort of last heave ho sort of thing. But they're playing good hockey. I mean, they're on a 6-game win streak. You can't knock it, but at the same time, like, man, I just don't think that is a recipe to beat the Panthers more than once.
Good, not great team playing a juggernaut.
Yeah. So we'll move on to my least favorite matchup, because it's my Bruins versus the Maple Leafs. And I do not want to see Toronto win a series at all. Ever.
You already know I'm rooting for Toronto just for your misery, Joe. I'm sorry.
I know, man. And the worst part is that this series is going 7. It is. I don't.
Oh, if it goes 7, you got it.
Yeah, I think it's going 7 regardless. I don't know if it doesn't go 7. I don't like the Bruins' chances, because it means they're being outscored, and I feel like they're gonna have to fight back a lot in this one. I could really see this go every other game, just flopping who wins, all the way to 7. It would not surprise
like 2019.
me. Yeah, like it would not surprise me at all. My heart says the Bruins win in 7. My gut tells me the Maple Leafs get it done in 6. And I'm going to go with my heart because I'm not picking the fucking Leafs. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun series to watch. However, I think that this might be that Austin Matthews sort of what we've been waiting for kind of game from him, or series from him, where it's kind of like he finally gets the Bruins off his back and goes through them and gets where he's going.
I could see it.
Doesn't matter. He's got still got to go through the Panthers, which he's not going to do. But I think this might be the series that the Leafs get the Bruins finally.
I could see that for sure. Personally, and you might disagree with this, and I desperately don't want to. I don't want to pick them. I've got the Leafs in 6. The Leafs aren't soft.
No.
The Leafs are not a soft team. This is not the Leafs teams. This is not your big brother's Leafs. They're a little slower, sure, but guys like Simone Benoit, Jake McCabe, Max Domi, Tyler Bertuzzi, this team's got some grit to it. They can play nasty. Did you not see Jake McCabe against Dallas when Marchment opened his nose up. Dude was bleeding down his face and trying to kill somebody.
I mean, don't forget, they did get Dewar at the trade deadline to get some quality depth on that team as well. So, I mean,
I liked that trade. I didn't like that was the one trade, but I liked the trade. I like Connor Dewar.
Well, they were salary cap strapped, so they did what they could inside the constraints.
They were, but also throw somebody on LTIR because Vegas is doing it, and if Vegas can do it, you can do it. So what's your excuse, Toronto? I think they're a little more physical. Here's the other thing. The Bruins have pretty much owned them in this season series, which means that the Leafs are going to win this series because I watched Dallas last year own Vegas in the season series, and we got kicked up and down the ice in games 3 and 6. Now, granted, games 1, 2, 4, and 5 were excellent. I personally got to go to game 4, one of the best hockey game I've ever been to, second best sporting event I've ever been to, bar none. But I think the Leafs are going to get him. And I don't think it'll be Matthews. And I don't think it'll be Marner. I think Nylander's going to kill him. I think Nylander is going to kill the Bruins in this series. Because the way I see it, William Nylander and Morgan Riley are the two best playoff performers on the Leafs and some of the best playoff performers in the league. I watched Nylander against Montreal. I've seen that Nylander show up in the playoffs year after year after year. I've seen Morgan Riley show up in the playoffs year after year after year. They get better. And I think those two, mixed in with some good defense and goaltending, are going to beat the Bruins in 6 games. I think this is the year they get it done. I think this is the year they get it done in round 1 again. They shouldn't have won last year, but they did. I think that'll be a little bit more convincing this time.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, if it wasn't the Leafs, I probably would have picked against my Bruins, but I just can't bring myself to say it. So we're gonna move on.
I don't blame you. Be a homer.
Right, I'll homer the shit out of this one. Lightning Rangers, and it's crazy to think that Nikita Kucherov has been dominating the way he's been dominating, and the Lightning are still a wild card team. And they're going to go into New York and have to face a Rangers team who is, outside of the Panthers, probably one of the most solid Cup contenders in the East. At least top 3. And I see this series going 6. I'm gonna give them 6. I think Kucherov is gonna get 2. But this is the Rangers series. I like the Lightning a little bit, but their goaltending hasn't been good. Their defense, like, it's really, Kucherov has been kind of, holding them up a little bit. And he's tapering. Yeah, you're right. He's tapering a bit. And that's not what you want to see from the guy who's going to have to lead you through the playoffs. Now, he could be like, reeling it in a little bit, but you don't have a solid grip on a wild card spot. I mean, the Red Wings have a game in hand on you, and they're only 2 points back. You got the Capitals are 3 games in hand on you, and they're only 5 points back. Like, there's a lot. They're not in a situation to just rest on their laurels here and just say, "Oh, we'll make it. We'll be fine." Like, so I'm going to give them 6. I could say 5. I think that it's probably more likely to be a gentleman's sweep than it is to get away with 6. But I'm going to give them 6. I'm going to say Rangers and 6 on this one. The Lightning have playoff pedigree, but I don't think that's going to be enough.
I could see it for sure. I could see that. My pick, Tampa and 7. 2 X factors
really?
Here. 2 X factors. In my opinion, Artemi Panarin for the Rangers. This series would go as Panarin goes. And Panarin's kind of disappeared the last 2 times they've been in the playoffs. And if they can't score on even strength again, then they're toast.
Oh,
I
sure.
get the Lightning are power play merchants. You can't be a power play merchant here. My other X factor is Braden Point. Point's been flying under the radar for years, and he's one of the best playoff performers in the league. I think their first cup run, he had 30-plus points. He was 1 point behind Kucherov for the lead. And the second time around, he probably could have had an argument. He had an argument for the Conn Smythe both times. He's a consistent playoff performer when healthy. If he's healthy, he's going to give the Rangers fits. Him and Kucherov are going to give the Rangers fits all day. I can't bet against this core when they win, and they know how to win. Plus, I love Jonathan Quick, and if Jonathan Quick turns into Jonathan Quick, which he's shown he's capable of doing this year, the Lightning are done.
Oh, for sure.
But is it how old is Jonathan Quick? 35? 36?
He's getting up there. I mean,
Exactly. He's up there in age. Does he have another run in him?
he's
I can
38.
also say this. Oh, gosh. At this stage of their career, who are you taking? Vasilevsky or Quick? Based off the season he's had, Quick. Playoff pedigree-wise, in this stage of their careers, it's Vasilevsky.
My heart goes with Quick, though, man. I want Quick to do so well.
I won't disagree with you on that. I think regardless, this series is going to go 7, and I can't wait to watch it play out. But my pick is Tampa.
I mean, it's not a bad pick. Like I said, Tampa's the biggest thing with Tampa is that they've given up so many goals. They're just I know that we're sitting here like, oh, Quick's gonna be getting older. Playoff hockey takes a little bit more of a toll on the players and things like that, especially your goalies. I think Quick, this is kind of like his last hurrah, and nothing would make me happier than watching Quick, be that guy, do that for the team, be that solid netminder, and get them through the series. I can see you going 5. I can see you going 6, 7. I mean, it could go 7. I like I said, the Lightning have that pedigree. They have that capability. We've seen them do it before in series where we've had them, clearly like, hey, they're done. They're not doing this, and they stretch it 7. So it doesn't surprise me at all. We're going to go ahead and move on into the final game in the East. Carolina and the Flyers. And you have said that your team is your second best in the East was Carolina. I just don't see a way the Flyers win this series. I don't see how they stay competitive in this series. I think that Carolina is going to I think that this might be the first sweep. Straight out, I think Philly's tough, but you're literally the lowest goal scorer in the Eastern Conference playoffs, and you don't stop the puck from going in the net overly well either. So you're not scoring at all, and you're not stopping people from scoring that well either. And you're going up against the Hurricanes, who, stop the goal very well. They've only allowed 177 on the season, which is second or third best in the East to the Rangers and the Panthers. And the Hurricanes also scored 216 goals, which is, it's not the great, but it's
better than whatever the Flyers are.
24 goals better than you. So, I mean, I don't see a way that the Flyers can be competitive. I think this is going to be a one-sided series. I think Carolina is going to control this series. Philly might steal one in Philly. Might. Purely from just how physical they could be, but it's Carolina's series to lose, and I just see it. I think this might be the first just absolute sweep we're going to see.
I could see it. Personally, I think Carolina wins with 6. But I could see Philly sweeping them.
Philly sweeping them? Wow.
Here's the reason why.
Yeah, give me some context on this.
Trap hockey in the playoffs. John Tortorella trap. I've watched a Columbus team that was good, not great, but had talent with guys like Artemi Panarin and Matt Duchene and Seth Jones and Zach Werenski and Sergei Bobrovsky steal a series. Not just steal a series, mopped a 62-win team in the playoffs. This roster, statistically, it is what it is. You're not going to get much goal scoring out of it. Now, having said that, I like Travis Konechny's goal scoring. I like Joel Farabee. Owen Tippett is one of the most underrated players in the league. And Sanheim can play offense. Plus, Sean Couturier is known as a defensive forward, but he turns it up in the playoffs. His playoff numbers are fantastic. So, with that being said, Carolina also doesn't have a goalie until I see it. I said Freddie was coming back. We don't know what Freddie we're going to get. So, if Carolina, who has had problems in the past scoring goals in the playoffs, cannot score goals against a trapped Philly team that can keep the puck out of their net, playing the neutral zone trap, and can pot one or two a game, that might spell some problems, especially for a Carolina team that, yes, they have Jake Gensel and yes, they have Evgeny Kuznetsov. You got to find out if the chemistry works. We haven't seen them in game yet. Philly got some guys and then traded some guys, like Sean Walker's gone. They got Eric Johnson, good veteran defenseman. They really didn't change much, so the chemistry's still there. So I could see this. I don't know, dude. Plus, Cam Atkinson played in that 4-game sweep when the Columbus Blue Jackets swept the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have some experience. They have guys with playoff experience. Cam Atkinson, Scott Laughton, Sean Couturier, Travis Sanheim, Joel Farabee, Travis Konechny, Nick Seeler, Garnet Hathaway, Mark Stahl. They've got guys. They've got some guys, and they're not going to be a pushover at all, in my opinion. All they got to do is make it.
I mean, you're right, but I just having some guys is great, but it's not like the Carolina Hurricanes haven't had like decent goalie play, even without, their guy, right? Like, it's been okay. You don't just give up only 177 goals on the season.
Well, Antti Raanta is in the minors right now, but he posted an 872 in his time in net. Freddie's back. He's got a 904. Kochetkov with a 910. I just don't know if that can carry you, to be honest. It might.
I mean, I'm not saying it's going to carry you to a Stanley, but it'll carry you past the Flyers. Honestly, right now, goals against, Kochetkov isn't bad. He's third in goals against in the league at 2.39, and he's not he's only 10 points off of playoff Bob. So I mean, it's not bad. But we'll go ahead and move on to the Western Conference, where your Dallas Stars are the number one in the Central. Apologies. Winnipeg Jets are 2. Colorado Avalanche are 3. And your Nashville Predators are your wild card team there. Then you have Vancouver at 1, Edmonton 2, Kings at 3, Knights at 4. So right now, you have Vancouver taking on the Knights. You got Dallas and the Preds, Jets, Avalanche, Oilers, Kings. Where do you want to start?
Let's go with the Pacific. I want to save the best for last.
We will start Vancouver Canucks, Vegas Golden Knights.
Vegas in 5.
Vegas in 5. I'm with you. As long as they're healthy. I think they got enough depth. Health is going to be their biggest problem. It's been their biggest problem all year. We've seen how it's anchored this team down. And like I said, right now, the Knights have to figure out if they're going to even make the playoffs. I mean, they're in a tight race. I mean, Calgary's, only 8 points off. Kraken are 8 points off. They're tied with the Kings, but you're not safe.
They need Stone back.
Yeah, they're not safe at all. But I'm with you. I think the Knights control this series, which is crazy to think considering where we were 3 months ago. Looking at the Canucks, they were playing out of their mind, but they have done what we finally were waiting for them to do.
They've tapered off.
Somewhat come back down to earth. So I'm right there with you, which leaves us to the second game, which is going to be Oilers-Kings. The Kings they're interesting. But I don't think Cam Talbot and the Kings got enough for Stuart Skinner and that Oilers offense. I think Stuart Skinner is going to mine the net well enough for the Oilers to do what they do on the offensive end, and that is score goals. Left and right. And I just want to be clear on this, all right? Just remember, Connor McDavid at one point in time, we did not think he could catch up in points.
He's third.
He is third at 103. He is 8 back of Nathan McKinnon. And here's the craziest thing about that stat.
Isn't he
everyone expects him
of Kucherov right now?
Let me see here. In goals, right? That's what we're talking about?
I'm talking about points.
Points, he is 4 back of Kucherov, 8 back of McKinnon. And everyone thought that Connor McDavid, for the Oilers to get back, Connor McDavid is going to have to go on a goal-scoring frenzy. And guess what?
You woke him up!
It wasn't goals. It was assists. He's the assist leader in the NHL at 79.
You woke him up, you idiots.
While Zach Hyman is the leading goal scorer on the Edmonton Oilers.
Draisaitl on it. That's insane.
It is insane that Connor McDavid is the leading assist guy in the NHL. And Zach Hyman is the leader in goals for the Edmonton Oilers and third in the NHL in goals at 43.
Mess around.
So the Oilers are playing unselfish hockey. Their stars are playing unselfish hockey, which is probably the scariest thing ever because that means at any point in time, they can pop off. You don't know who to guard anymore. You don't know who to gear your defense towards anymore because guess what? McKinnon's willingly passing the puck.
McDavid.
Which is why... Yeah, McDavid. My apologies. McKinnon's right there on his ass. So the Oilers get him in 5. I think that the Oilers offense right now is going to dominate a lot of the matchups they're going to get until they meet a team that just outmuscles them. And I don't think the Kings can do it.
I've got the Oilers sweeping them for all the reasons you mentioned. Plus, I don't like the Kings this year at all.
Yeah, well.
Ever since they started out hot as road warriors, they've tapered off and they've been horrendous. I haven't liked them. I watched them the other day play Dallas. There was no fight. Got one early, and then Dallas got one back in the second period. And it's like they gave up. I wasn't impressed with the way they play. I think there are some problems in that dressing room. Looking at you, Pierre-Luc Dubois. I don't know what's to like about this team, to be perfectly honest. Other than Quentin Byfield. Like, Quentin Byfield has performed well. Kopitar is Kopitar. Doughty is Doughty. And everything else just kind of sucks.
It's true. That means we have the Knights and the Oilers coming out of the Pacific. So we're going to talk Winnipeg Jets and the Colorado Avalanche.
Ooh.
And I think this series, with all the star power in Colorado, hinges on one man.
Which one?
Connor Hellebuyck. I think Connor Hellebuyck is 110% going to dictate how ugly this gets for the Jets, or if they can make this a series. He is without a doubt right now, they have the second best goals against in the NHL with the Florida Panthers. The difference between the Winnipeg Jets and the Florida Panthers is that the Florida Panthers also scored 217 goals, while the Winnipeg Jets only scored 193. The Jets are a plus 40 goal differential purely because Connor Hellebuck is Connor Hellebuck. They have a similar road home and away record as Dallas Stars. You just reverse it, and it's almost identical.
Copy paste under the other category.
Yeah, it is. I think that their saving grace is that Colorado does not play as well on the road. And the Jets being the home team means that they will play Game 7 in Winnipeg if it gets there. I just don't know if it does. I feel like they're going to go into Game 6 needing to win to send it back to Winnipeg. And I just don't know if they do it. I could see it going 7, and I think if it goes 7, it's in Winnipeg's favor. But I got Colorado in 6.
I don't hate it. Colorado has the firepower to blow them out of the water, especially getting middle stat.
I got faith in Hellebuck, man. I got faith in him. I think he's gonna have the series of his life.
I do too. To be honest with you, I love Connor Hellebuck. But I think the Jets as a whole are pretty underrated. I mean, look at who they got. Sean Monahan's performing better than advertised. And they just got Tyler Toffoli. Again, chemistry. I'm going to keep coming back to that during the trade deadline or post-trade deadline. But Toffoli is one of the better goal scorers in the game. He's about to get another 30-goal season. They've got some firepower. They've got some guys that can put the puck in the net. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele when he wants to, Tyler Toffoli. I like Josh Morrissey on the back end. Connor Hellebuck. If it comes down to a goaltending duel, I think it's a 7-game series either way, and I'm going to take the goalie in the playoffs. I think Colorado is going to get beat in a similar manner as to how they did last year. Because I don't know how Landeskog, if Landeskog comes back, I don't know how he's going to play. To be perfectly honest with you, you can't just, there's no way you're out of the game for 2 years and you're the same player. If he is, I hope he is. I love Gabriel Landeskog. I hate the Avalanche. Gabriel Landeskog is one of my favorite players. I hope he comes back and is the same as he was. But that's not reality.
No.
The reality is Connor Hellebuck is the best goalie in the league, arguably, and goaltending wins you series in the playoffs. I don't trust Georgiev at all. And if he gets hurt, you have to rely on Justus Sandinen. I hope I didn't butcher his name. So, and plus you got to play the whiteout at home. You got to go to the whiteout. I don't like that matchup. That's a tough place to play. That's if Winnipeg fans can even afford to go to that playoff game, which is a whole other issue that we can address for another time. Long story short, Winnipeg in 7.
I mean, that's where I was leaning towards. I was right there with you. It was just whether or not they could win that Game 6 in Colorado. So here's what I see happening in this next series. It is Dallas Stars and the Nashville Predators. And the Nashville Predators are hot right now. They really are. They're not much further off from the similar sort of record than what Dallas is. They just have fewer overtime games.
Fewer overtime losses. Good Lord.
They lose them in regulation.
Changed.
Right? They lose them in regulation. Realistically, they're not that far off. They've won 3 less games than the Stars, Winnipeg Jets, and Colorado Avalanche, who are all at 40. So they are not a bad team. They are not 78 points to 85 to 85 to 89. They're not that bad. I think this is going to be an entertaining series. I think Dallas and Nashville. I might go to this Nashville Predators Dallas series in Nashville. I
might
just
go
might
to
drive.
Dallas.
I might just drive up to Nashville to see this series because I think it's going to be good. If I can get a ticket, I might just go.
Or you could get a plane ticket out to Dallas and we could shoot some interview stuff out there in front of the AAC.
We could. Okay. All right. I might play with that idea. I've been in the Dallas Fort Worth area one time this year, and I was not a fan. But I might go back.
Yeah, their highways suck, but
yeah,
that's why I love Oklahoma City. That's why I like Oklahoma City's grid better. But that's beside the point.
Yeah, I'm gonna take. I think the series goes 6. I do. I think it goes 6, and I think the Dallas Stars shut the door in Nashville. I think that this is a similar sort of Dallas, or I think all these games are going to be one goal game, one score differential games. Like, I think they're going to be hard fought. Dallas in 6. I actually believe that the Central Division playoff games are going to be the most entertaining to watch, purely because of how close the 4 teams in that division really are.
I can't wait. I really can't wait, to be honest with you. And I'm going to say the exact same thing. I think Dallas is going to win in 6 because what this Nashville team reminds me of, and tell me if I'm wrong, I think they're more of a watered down version of what Seattle was last year. And watered down not by much. They don't have the same type of firepower that Seattle did. But for the most part, they're pretty similar. A hot goalie, a good defense, and they're a forechecking. They kill you on the forecheck. I think what it is, I say watered down because they don't have the high-end guys that Seattle did last year, like Eberle, McCann. They don't have a Matty Beniers. They don't have a Vince Dunn. Well, yes, they do have a Vince Dunn. His name's Roman Josi, and he's better. So I had to stop myself there. But Nashville's a very good team. I just don't. I think Dallas matches them everywhere. And they've got the firepower that Nashville doesn't. It's why I picked Dallas over Seattle last year, and I believe 6 or 7, because I said Dallas can match them in depth, and they have the firepower Seattle doesn't. And it's the same argument here. So I'm going to take Dallas in 6 in this one.
Same. So staying in the West. It should
be entertaining, though, because these two teams, if you haven't paid attention, these two teams hate each other.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great.
Ever since 2019, that was one of the best 6-game series I've ever watched. And there was some hate. And you got Jamie Benn out there trying to kill people. So it should be interesting.
Oh, it's going to be great. So in the West, we have Dallas and the Jets moving on in the Western. Oilers and Knights moving on in the Pacific. Those 4 teams are probably the scariest 4 teams that I could ever imagine. Yeah, the Knights are the Western Conference Panthers. The Oilers are an absolute offensive juggernaut.
Dallas is like the deepest team in the league.
The Jets have the best goalie in the Western Conference, maybe the NHL. And Dallas is one of the best teams at home and on the road in the NHL. That's rough. That's rough.
It's poor Colorado because some beast of a team has to bow out in round 1, and it sucks.
I mean, they're the worst team on the road, and they're playing a series where predominantly they're going to be on the road. I mean, that's what happens when you don't take care of business during the season. You end up having to play 4 games away from your home barn, and the problem with Colorado is they have not shown that they do that well. I mean, they're 14-14-5. I think of all the playoff teams, that's the worst road record outside of the Flyers and the Lightning, who are 14-16-2 and 14-12-5. So,
that's fair. Don't tell Carl, though. He might have some choice words for you.
And the thing is that both those teams I mentioned are wild card teams. The other wild card team is 14-13-5. They are the only team to be 500 or to be like that bad on the road who is not a wild card team. Every other team that is that bad on the road is a wild card team. In fact, the Panthers, who are a wild card team, are better on the road.
The Panthers?
Or the Predators, I apologize, who are a wild card team. are better on the road than the Avalanche. What the hell? So I don't care. I think that's how that's going to go. So that's the first round of the playoffs.
Right there with you.
That's how I see it going. So now we got to look at the second round matchups. Second round.
Ooh, we want to start in the West this time?
We're going to start in the West this time. I'm going to let you take it off. Which one you want to start with?
We'll start in the Pacific.
Start in Pacific. You got Oilers, Golden Knights.
I am going to pick Vegas in 6.
I was also
now.
going to pick
That's
Vegas
if they're
in
healthy.
6. Yes.
That's if they're healthy. If they're not healthy, Connor McDavid is going to torch them. Leon Draisaitl is going to torch them.
I think this series 110% rides on Stuart Skinner.
It has to.
And that's crazy to think with the names that are going to be on the ice that Stuart Skinner is the difference maker. That guy right there, that is your wild card, must have it guy. And I'm with you.
That's if Edmonton's defense doesn't collapse first.
Yeah.
In my opinion, because look at Vegas's blue line. Alex Pietrangelo, Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin now. Those 3 guys are number 1 D-men on every other team in the league, except Dallas and Colorado and Florida. But that defense is huge. They're all over 6 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Vegas is extremely physical and can neutralize speed and attack you with their own with Jack Eichel. And Jack Eichel's a playoff performer. So,
as much as I want Edmonton to win this series, it's the Knights in 6. I'm with you.
Yeah, I think they're just set up too well.
Yeah, Edmonton had a hell of a run. It's going to take a miracle for them to get through this. I think 6 games is exactly where it ends. If it goes 7, the Oilers might have a chance, but that's going to be a rough one. So
it'll be an entertaining series, though, for sure.
Oh yeah, there's too much fire.
Now I will say Edmonton's a much better 5-on-5 team than they were last year.
Yes, they've shown that they're playing complementary hockey. The no block effect is real. But the Knights move on to the Western Conference Finals, and they are facing the winner of probably what I would have wished to have been the Western Conference Finals. The Dallas Stars and the Winnipeg Jets. And this series is going 7. This is going to be a 7-game series. I'm expecting at least 2 to 3 overtime games in this series.
Maybe 6, but I'm leaning towards 7.
I'm saying 7. And the crazy thing is that I think that Hellebuck is going to have a hell of a series. I think he's going to be really, really good.
Should.
But Dallas is just, I think they're too potent offensively.
They're too fast.
And I think that Dallas wins this game. Like I said, 6, possibly 7. But it's the Stars either way.
Here's my thing. I think it's Dallas in 6 or 7. I think Dallas, from what I've seen out of Winnipeg this year, is too fast. They can roll 4 lines better with just about anybody, if not better. Your first line, Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski. That line speaks for itself. Second line, you stop them. You have to deal with Mason Marchment, Matt Duchene, Tyler Seguin, which has been the Stars' best line this season. And that's better than what was arguably last year's best line in the NHL. You stop them, then you got to deal with Jamie Benn, who's played pretty well the last couple weeks, Wyatt Johnston, and the hottest rookie in the NHL, Logan Stankoven. And I want to get to him, but we'll probably get to him next week. You stop them, Foxa, Steele, Sam Steele, Craig Smith. They'll forecheck you to death. They'll shut you down. They'll run you out. Sam Steele is the passer on that line for sure. And the other 2 guys crash the crease, and Fox has picked it up offensively. Defense, I don't know if the Jets have enough, to be honest. I like Josh Morrissey. What else do you got? What else are you giving me? Hellebuck is the better goalie in this series, 100%. The other factor I have in this, Jason Robertson has Connor Hellebuck's number. Over the course of his career, Jason Robertson has Connor Hellebuck's number nailed to his wall. And if Jason Robertson shows up, that's a big if. He was injured last year. He showed up against Vegas big time, though. If he has a Vegas-like series against Winnipeg, Dallas could win this sooner. If not, I still think it's Dallas in a long series. Either way, it'll be entertaining. It might be lower scoring than some might think, and I'm going to give Winnipeg credit. They can score. Like I said, Toffoli, Scheifele, Connor. I'm going to give them credit where it's due, but I don't think they have enough.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I don't think they have enough either. I think Dallas is going to win that series, and that leaves us a Western Conference Finals of Dallas and Vegas.
Repeat of last year,
so we're going to go to the East now. And we have, I believe, the Canes, the Lightning. I'm going to give you the Lightning, the Leafs, and the Panthers. That is how it broke down, if I remember correctly. We had the Panthers beating the Islanders. We had the Lightning beating the Canes in 7. The Lightning beating the Rangers in 7. The Canes beating the Flyers, and the Leafs beating the Bruins. So
where do you want to start, Joe? Let's start in the Metro so that you can save your Atlantic Division for last.
Okay, well, there's only one team technically that we got out of the Metro, if I remember correctly. That was the Canes. So we have the Canes going up against the Lightning. I think that if the Lightning beat the Rangers in 7, I think they can get the Canes in 7. I really do. I think the Lightning offensively have more for the Canes than they can handle. I think the Canes' only hope is that their goaltending can hold up, because the Lightning haven't been good in goal either. They haven't been good. I mean, they've been giving up 219 goals on the year. That's the most in the Eastern Conference playoff picture. But I just don't know if they can. I think the Kucherov magic continues, and I got the Lightning in 6.
You can't take a penalty against Tampa.
No.
You cannot take a penalty against Tampa. Carolina, I don't think, has the goaltending, and I've got Tampa in 6. I think their offense can carry them. I think their offense is going
I'm with you.
Run down and run through Carolina. I think they'll get them in 6.
Which leaves us the Panthers and the Leafs. And I don't think we even really need to talk about this one. Panthers in 5.
4.
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
Panthers sweeping them. Good
it's
Lord,
ugly.
That series is going. Sorry, Leafs, you're not beating the Panthers this year either. Moving on.
No, yeah.
You don't have the talent. You don't have the forechecking. You don't have the defense. You're slow. You can't. You're outclassed.
So now we have the Lightning and the Panthers versus and the Stars and the Knights on this version of the Crease's playoff bracketology. And we're going to start in the East. We're going to save your Stars for last. We're going to let them survive a little longer. The Panthers are beating the Lightning in 6.
That's a Kucherov doesn't happen again, which could happen. Because Kucherov killed them the last time they played.
I think it's in 6. I think the Panthers just have too much. If they can stay out of the penalty box, the Panthers should have no problem. I think playoff Bob is going to be the difference maker here. I think that, if Winnipeg had what the Panthers have, I would probably have taken Winnipeg over Dallas.
100%.
But they don't. So the Panthers are going to represent the Eastern Conference in the Stanley Cup.
And I agree with you 100% there. Like everything you said, to be honest.
And so now we go to the West, where Dallas gets a shot at the Knights. And I think this is a 7-game series, which usually wouldn't bode well for the Stars, I think, against the Knights. But I think the Knights are going to have to play a lot on the road throughout their playoff trek. It's going to be rough.
That's if they don't get injured.
Grueling for them. And you also have the injury bug they've been dealing with. Dallas in 7.
That's my pick. And the reason I'm going to add to that a little bit. Vegas is deeper than they were last year, and that's not even a question. Top to bottom, on paper, they are a deep roster they were last year. So are the Stars. And the Stars are healthy. Mostly healthy, because Tyler Sagan's not back yet. Sagan comes back, and he's Sagan again because Tyler's had a great year this year. Last year, we didn't have a Matt Duchene. Last year, we didn't have a Chris Tanev. Last year, we didn't have a Sam Steele. We didn't have a Craig Smith. Granted, Vegas did not have a Thomas Hertl or Noah Hannafin. I think it's going to be a war. I think these two teams hate each other. 2 playoff series in the conference finals against each other. I think if this series is not the second coming of Avalanche Red Wings from the 90s, it's an absolute travesty. And I think there's going to be a lot of hate. There's going to be a lot of hate in both conference finals because it's inarguable that Florida and Tampa are each other's biggest rivals. I think you can argue Dallas and Vegas are each other's biggest rivals. If you look at the history. In games that mean something, 2018, Stars played Vegas in their first ever game as a franchise. 2020, the 2020 conference finals. 2022, the Stars were the team that knocked Vegas out of the playoffs in a shootout win for Dallas. That was one of the best regular season games I think has ever been played. It felt like a playoff game, and there was some hatred in that series. And then last year's conference finals, other than the 2 blowouts, it was a great series.
Oh, yeah.
Unreal series. And I think Dallas is the hungrier team because they haven't done that before. Now, Vegas has some winners on their team.
Oh, yeah.
But Dallas is hungry. And I've got Dallas coming out of this series in 7.
Yeah, and for sure. Like I said, I think the Knights are going to be playing on the road too much. I think this is Dallas series to win. Which brings us to the Stanley Cup. With a Florida Panthers, Dallas Stars Stanley Cup. And the Panthers get it in 5. I think they just got too much for the Stars. I think the Stars grit. I think that the Knights series is going to take a lot. It's going to take its toll on the Stars. And I think that the Panthers are... I think they have probably one of the easiest roads that I've ever seen.
That's if Tampa doesn't hamper them.
That's if Tampa. Injuries. Yeah, that's if Tampa doesn't pull a Tampa. But
that's if Eric Chernak and Victor Hedman and Steven Stamkos and Nikita Kucherov decide not to kick butt and take names.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I think that what we're seeing, the road Dallas has is significantly harder. I think the Predators are better than who the Panthers see in the first round. I think that the Knights are better than who the Panthers see in the second round. As much as I think the Lightning can give the Panthers a run, I think the Knights are better. I just think the Dallas Stars, because of all the talent in their division, all the talent in the conference, regardless of how it pans out, they are not going to have as fresh a legs as I think the Panthers are going to have. And I think that contributes to the Panthers winning this series. The Florida Panthers will be your 2023-2024 NHL Stanley Cup champions in 5.
In 6, in my opinion, just because I think Dallas has too much talent. Plus, I think you're taking the Islanders series a little too lightly.
Maybe I am. I haven't been too impressed.
That's also if Jake McCabe doesn't come out and kill somebody in round 2.
We'll see.
But yeah,
but there's your Stanley Cup prediction. There's your Stanley Cup prediction. As much as it pains Ian to not say that his Dallas Stars are winning the Stanley Cup,
we got there, but I want to see us win.
the Panthers just got too much. It's undeniable. It's undeniable. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I have to pick.
But that's all we got time for today on the Crease. Yeah, for sure. That's all we got time for today on the Crease. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comment section your predictions for the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's just a little over a month away. It's time to start getting those predictions down. The ESPN's going to have their bracketology stuff going on. NHL's going to have their bracket challenge going on. Be sure to fill those out. Post them in the comments. Share them on social media. Share, tag us and whatever you want to do. Show us your brackets. We want to see them. We want to see what you think we got right, what we got wrong. Be sure to like, comment, and follow on all of our social media platforms. That's at YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Spotify, The House Call Sports. You can check out all of our other segments there on YouTube as well as Instagram and other platforms. Be sure to check out all of our affiliates. We'll have the link tree link in the description of this video. It has all of our affiliate links in it as well. And big shout out to Lids for being our affiliate for this video. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on The Crease.